Okay, let's talk about something that clearly is not talked about enough. What happens if you have a criminal history of any kind at any time in your life in the past? What happens if you cruise?
Look what you done started. Girl, keep working that body.
How y'all doing, people? My name's Keith.
And I'm Free. And we are
The Howards.
the Howards.
Yes.
Now, I tell my clients all the time, you cannot go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK. It's a little bit easier to get permission for the UK. Yes, that means London. But Canada and Australia, those two in particular, don't even bother booking. So, transparency, because we have felonies 20 years in the past, we don't book Canada. But our ship is going to Canada all of a sudden, and we didn't get any warning. So we were supposed to go to Bermuda. Now, mind you, I knew in August, because when we went up just before we went on Star, Bermuda got canceled due to hurricane, but not a single one of those ships went to Canada. So I didn't even think it was a possibility that our sailing could go to Canada. But either way, Carnival didn't notify us, and they knew 2 days ago when they brought this same ship right on back to New York, canceled the sailing to Grand Turk, and brought it back to New York due to this hurricane. They knew, but they didn't give us a warning. They didn't tell us, oh, by the way, there's a possibility that your itinerary could change to a northern itinerary until today at 2-something p.m., which is 5 p.m. in New York. And guess what? We were already in the air. And what is the alternatives? Option one, oh, well, you can go get $200 onboard credit plus a 25% future cruise credit and 100% refund on any excursions that you may have already purchased. But option two is don't go, cancel, and just get that same 25% future cruise credit. Oh, and at the very, very bottom, it says anybody that may have a criminal history may be denied entry into Canada, and click on the Canadian Border Patrol website, which the only thing it says is that, yeah, you can be detained. Why the hell you think we don't book Canada? Because that's exactly what they can do. They can get on board when you get to the Canadian port and detain you simply because you had a criminal history in the past, and yes, that includes DUI. It is a lifetime ban. Canada ain't giving you no type of leeway at all. Trump can't even go to Canada, okay? Can't go to Canada. We don't book Canada. And then to not get, my issue is not, let's be clear, my issue is not the weather. My issue is not the itinerary change. My issue isn't even the fact that the itinerary is going to Canada. My issue is that Carnival, number one, knew and gave us no warning. But two, because we got no warning, now you only want to give the 25% future cruise credit, and you're not giving any type of compensation for flight changes or hotel cancellations like normal cruise lines like Royal Caribbean do before sailing. That's what my issue is, because if we had just gotten 2 hours notification earlier, we wouldn't have got on the plane. I booked this on Southwest. I booked this with points, which meant that I had 10 minutes before that flight left to cancel my flight for 100% refund. And then I could have canceled the cruise, but we wouldn't have even been in the air. I got this notification after we landed in Denver. That is my problem. Couldn't turn back, had no alternatives. Now we're all the way in New York, and it's gonna cost me either 21,000 points tomorrow or $286 tomorrow to go home. No, that's not that much, but that should not be my expense. And I shouldn't be in a position where I'm trapped and locked in because you knew and failed to notify anybody, and then you're failing to get compensation. That's what my problem is. And I'm not the only person that's in that position. We did not book a cruise to Canada. Okay? This is exactly the same, apples to apples, oranges to oranges, as if this cruise that needed no passport all of a sudden is being rerouted to Panama, where you have to have a passport to enter, and passengers have already traveled, and you're not giving them any type of recourse to cancel, knowing they simply can't go. You don't have the option of saying, well, I don't want to go. No, can't freaking go. Now, we have one or two things going to happen at this port tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to the port. This is an elite offer. It's the reason why we took it. So we have car service coming to pick us up tomorrow and then take us to the airport, whatever day that happens to be. One or two things is going to happen. We could get denied boarding, or we can get on the ship and just can't get off in Canada. I don't care about getting off in Canada. And by the way, did I mention that it's cold? That's the least of our problems, but we're not packed for that either. And again, didn't get any information until it was too late. But those are our options. There's only two things that are going to happen tomorrow. It is that we're going to be told will happen tomorrow. It is denied boarding, or we can go, but we can't get off in Canada and be stuck on this little ship for 5 days for no particular reason, going to nowhere. I would have rather the cruise just sail to nowhere, because Carnival Glory is sailing to nowhere. Normally, due to the Jones Act, the ship has to stop at a foreign port if it is not U.S. flagged. There's only one ship in the entire cruise industry that is flagged in the U.S., and that is Pride of America, and she sails from Hawaii. This ain't that. But they have this exception clearly for Carnival Glory to sail around in the middle of nowhere. Okay, well, we could have sailed around in the middle of nowhere. I ain't got no problem with that. I do got a problem with us sailing to a port that not everybody that is booked on this cruise is able to go to. And you're not offering any type of compensation to cancel. I'll talk to him tomorrow, and we'll find out whether or not he just wants to cancel and go back home. I ain't got a problem with that. You know what? I'll lose my money on the hotel that we have booked for the 6th because we were staying over one more night. I'll lose my money on the car rental because it's not refundable. We do have travel insurance, but here's the thing about travel insurance and hurricanes. There is a clause in the travel insurance that says, based on when the hurricane was named, they can deny your claim. They don't have to pay out. So I'm taking all these possible losses. So I'm not really tripping that much of a loss because, yeah, it's Carnival. But I'm having to deal with all of this simply because if they had just notified us 2 hours earlier, just 2 hours earlier, I wouldn't even got on a plane. And the worst part about it is 10 minutes before we got to the airport, I got a phone call for a job paying $3,000 that I only had to cancel because it was during the dates that we were going to be on this sailing. So, I did a Facebook post and passed it on to some of y'all. If you were eligible, you guys hopefully got in and get that little money. But the point is, not only did I not have to get on the plane, not only did I not have to be dealing with this situation right now, but I could be getting paid right now. And I'm not even getting that. And for all of you that are like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done something 20 years ago to put you in this position. First off, I wasn't even talking to you, okay? And like I said, Trump can't even go. But there are plenty of people that are in that situation, and your criminal history and record is not from 20 years ago. It's not from 30, 40, 60 years ago. It's soon enough. Soon as you are off parole or probation, yes, you can cruise. Just can't go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and that soon I wouldn't even try the UK. But you're able to sail, and there's nothing wrong with that. And yes, I have a criminal history, but guess what? I like my life. I am perfectly happy with the person that I am, and I don't care if you judge me now because of what I did in the past. I ain't talking to you either. But my issue is we were not given warning enough to be able to cancel. We were placed into a situation that ultimately was not predictable or anything that we could have done. For all of you that are like, well, you sailed during hurricane season, no kidding. And I don't even understand why Bermuda season, it's a seasonal port, would be during the hurricane season, but it is, okay. And I chose to do Carnival instead of Royal because Carnival was sailing out of Manhattan, and we haven't sailed out of Manhattan or New Jersey, and Royal sails out of Bayonne, New Jersey. It's just easier to get to New York than it is to get to Bayonne. So that's why I chose Carnival, and it was an elite offer. So what were we getting? Car service to and from the port. I mean, the cruise only cost $400 and something. So taking that little loss, it is what it is. Excursion that clearly we will not be getting no matter what port we go to, because we can't get off in Canada if we are allowed to board. Shore excursion for 2 people, Wi-Fi for free for 2 people, and a couple of little perks. That's why we chose Carnival, Venezia, and came out of Manhattan, because we thought it'd be nice. And yes, I wanted to go to Bermuda. Okay, we lost Bermuda. It is what it is. Going up north where it's going to be colder. It is what it is. But Canada is not it is what it is type of situation. It's just not. And yes, I am beyond pissed. I'm livid. I'm only talking like this because I finally calmed down, because at the end of the day, I'm a problem solution type of person, type of thinker. So the only thing I could do is figure it out. Figure out what the alternatives are, research and see what all they're talking about, and get my head right to see what our options are. But at the end of the day, you knew. That just really takes me over the top, because if you knew 2 days ago, then the email that you sent out at 2:23 p.m. today could have easily been sent out. I don't care if it was 9 o'clock in the morning. I still gave us time to not get on that plane. You could have sent it out yesterday. You could have sent it out earlier, and you could have given us the option to cancel prior to being in the midst of travel and only having hours. This is not your normal thing. Like I said, for all of y'all that's watching, that got all that devil's advocate stuff to say, this ain't that, okay? This ain't that. This ain't something that you could have avoided, that you could have researched, you could have done this, that, and the third. If I wanted to go to Canada, I'd have booked Canada. I specifically avoided Canadian flights, cruises, because I know I can't go there. So I'm not going to book Australia or New Zealand knowing I can't go there. So under those circumstances, yes, they absolutely should be offering compensation for those that are now placed in a position by Carnival. Okay, I placed myself in this position. Carnival placed me in this situation, and they're the ones that are not offering compensation to not be able to go. This is not a choice type of situation. It's not a choice type of situation. Like I said, best case scenario, we can go, we just can't get off in Canada. All right, I can accept that risk, but I still should have had the option to be able to cancel. And that's the problem. For the rest of y'all that could possibly be in this situation, or know somebody that can be, because it affects all demographics. It ain't just black or white, it's green, yellow, purple, and banana, okay? Anybody that has a history from however long ago, for whatever reason, got mad at somebody, got in a fight, and caught yourself a felony, you can't go to Canada, okay? Can't go. For all of y'all, yeah, I'm mad, but just know, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and UK, you cannot travel to. Not with permission, not with time passing, you just can't go. And Carnival should have given us a heads up or compensation when they made the change to a place that not all the passengers can travel to. The end.